So I'm here at home, so the machine I'm going to be using to kind of demo to you how to do your practice papers isn't look exactly like the ones at school. It's the mine that I have at home. So it's computerized. You won't have this computer screen here, and your buttons aren't like this. You have the knobs. You still thread the machine the same, but I'm not going to have you learn how to thread the machine till next week. You've got enough other things to do this week that you're not going to need to thread till next week, which is then when you'll do your driver's test with thread in the machine and sew on your paper. And then you'll get to start your first project. So if you're an FCS 1, you'll start your pillowcase next week. And if you're an FCS 2, you're going to start and make an aromatherapy bag. Excuse me. So when you first start sewing, you're going to turn your machine on. You guys have a switch over here on the side. I am not sure where the singers are, but I'll make sure I get the manual out so that you can look through those if you need to. So you'll plug it in if it's not plugged in already, and then make sure that you turn it on and off. It's really important that you're turning it on and off every time you use it, and when you do start threading, every time you thread the machine. The reason that people get hurt usually is because their machine is on and their foot is on the pedal, or someone walks by and touches the pedal when their hand is down here by the needle and they're doing something else, like moving fabric or threading the needle, and someone accidentally hits the machine. And that's usually when someone will sew through their finger. So you need to be really careful about every time you stop your machine, you turn it off, unless you're going to be sitting right there and sewing on it. If you're threading the needle, you always turn the machine off. If you're changing the needle because it broke, you always turn the machine off, just to make sure that you're not going to get hurt. So I'm going to go ahead and be ready to sew here. I'm going to sew through the first practice paper. So this is the hand wheel over here, and when you turn the hand wheel, the needle will go up and down. The presser foot lifter is on the back, so you always want to make sure you lift the presser foot up and make sure the needle is up out of the machine as well, so that you can get the paper under there. So the first practice sheet I'm going to start with is the sewing machine practice number 1. Looks like this, and it's in your packet that you've got. And if you read the directions, it's pretty simple to do. It says to practice using the sewing machine, stitch the design with an unthreaded sewing machine, and use medium stitch length. For you, you're going to turn your stitch length right here. It's the same as your reverse control. So if you're on one of the Bernina machines, it should be set in the middle of that reverse control. If you're on the Singers, I think it should be set at a 3, because I think it goes from 1 to 6. So, but I might be wrong on that, so you'll have to figure that out. So if we're going to sew, the paper always moves, or the fabric always moves away from us. So I'm going to go ahead and put the paper in, and when I get the line lined up, I'm going to put this down, use the presser foot lifter to put the presser foot down on the paper. So that's what's going to hold it in place. And if you look at your presser foot, there's a notch in the presser foot, or a little indented line. If your needle is centered, and you can move your needle, there's on the Bernina a knob right here. On mine I have a button. So you can move the needle so it goes right and left. You want it centered on that line, so when the needle goes down into the paper, it's going to hit right where that notch is. That way you don't have to line this line up on the paper with the needle. You just have to look at this notch, and you'll hit right every time. So I'm going to go ahead and sew. So I'm pushing on my pedal and just kind of guide it along. My needle's not quite centered and I'm standing, so I'm not doing the greatest job, but just let it move along where that notch is and line the line up with that. You have a lot of lines on this paper to practice with, and I don't expect you to do perfect every time. I would like 2 or 3 really good lines done on this paper. So when you get to the end, you're going to lift your presser foot up and you can take it out and look at it. And you can't really see very well from this side, but if you flip it over, you can kind of see where the light's coming through on my line that I sewed. So you need to go through and do all the lines on this paper. I'd like 2 or 3 really good lines. And then you've got your paper that has the straight lines and the squiggly lines and the zigzag lines. That's going to be done with thread next week. So don't sew on that driver's test paper, because that's what you're going to sew on with thread. But this is just kind of a practice to get you ready to do that and kind of get used to how fast the machine moves and how to do the different things. The second sewing machine practice sheet looks like this, kind of like a maze looking. What you're going to do, and I'm going to start halfway down the line, you'll put it in down here and sew down this straight line. And this is to practice pivoting. Pivoting is when you put the needle down in the paper and you keep going. So I've got a corner here. I'm going to sew down to the corner. And when I get to the corner, I'm going to slow down and turn the hand wheel so the needle is in the paper down in the corner. And then I lift the presser foot up and I turn the paper.